Right, of course, our reporters are at the NGC. We'll cross to them just to get a sense of what's happening now and, of course, the very latest from them. For now, let's take you to this. The National Police Commissioner General Fani Masemola has visited Soulsville and is set to go to Brakpan later as police intensify investigations into two grisly weekend crime scenes. In Soulsville, west of Pretoria, at least 12 people were killed in a mass shooting at an illegal shebeen inside a hostel. In a separate incident, Marius van der Merwe testified before the Madlanga Commission with his identity hidden as witness D. He was killed this past weekend. All right, let's pause that and head to Boksburg now. That's where Natasha Puri is at the NGC. Natasha, very good afternoon to you. Of course, we heard early on from the ANC's President Cyril Ramaphosa giving that very comprehensive political overview. Just give us a sense then what is happening at the conference today.
Well, thank you so much, Unathi. I can see delegates are starting to go back into plenary. Of course, political reports by the Secretary General of the ANC needs to be tabled in plenary just to assess and lay out the state of the organization, Unathi, especially as they're going towards the 2026 polls. You know that last year they suffered an electoral decline, just going to 40%, but also just to speak to that and other issues, especially on the ANC's internal challenges and renewal. And this is one of the main discussion points in the NGC documents. I'm joined by Dr. Sibongile Besani, who is the ANC's head of political education and committee. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. So, I mean, you look at this discussion document. It says that the ANC faces an existential crisis with weakened structures, factionalism, and a decline in community engagement. And talking about community engagement, we heard the president of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, quite scathing to ANC members, saying that, you know, not much door-to-door campaigns were actually done leading to the elections. Also, it seems as if there's this disconnect between ANC members and the very communities that they actually serve or live in.
Thank you very much. You called me doctor.
Oh, sorry. Apologies for giving you a promotion.
Thanks. It means I must work hard to achieve that. Look, the ANC has always reflected on its weaknesses. You'd remember in 2016, we had a diagnostic report that spoke quite elaborately on the weaknesses of the organization. Even in 2017, even now, the president was very clear, because what we are doing, this is a midterm report. On the political report, the president was saying, let us look at how we were campaigning during 2024 election, and he then decried our door-to-door, our commitment to it as members, and how we actually, as a result of not being quite aggressive and being on the ground the way we expected, how it also contributed towards the electoral misfortunes of last year. So it is part and parcel of what we are here to do, to assess our strengths and weaknesses. So indeed, we want branches of the ANC to be activists than just to be leaders or members of the ANC. They must be rooted and steeped into communities where they live.
Another weakness that we always hear ANC members, leaders talk about is the issue of factionalism. Another issue is the issue of money being exchanged during conferences. You've come out of a number of regional conferences. We just saw Joburg has concluded. Tshwane is going to one. How do you ensure that the exchange of money does not happen? Also, I mean, states here glaringly so that the ANC is at a point where people are so preoccupied with electing leaders, whereas you forget about what the ANC is about. You forget about the interests of the people, the NDR as well.
Look, the truth is these are misbehaviors or conduct that have been quite deep. And we have embarked on a program of renewal. Part of that program includes political education. For an example, you will hear on the report of the SG how many members have gone through the foundation course and what impact has it done. One of the impacts, for an example, is that you would remember part of what was happening through factionalism and so on. When a member is accused of corruption, you'll find other members going to support that leader, hands off, so on and so on. look at us now for the past year or so. You don't experience a situation where members of the ANC go out there and associated themselves with people who are accused of corruption. So there's a lot that we are doing to make sure that our members, embrace, internalize, our values of this. Of course, we are a big organization. The pushback is there, but we think we're beginning to shake the ground. We're beginning to push back these wrong tendencies and so on. You can see at how this conference has been organized, the discipline of members and so on. And regional conferences, of course, they are always dynamic, and those features of misbehavior, they are there, but we're pushing hard to make sure that every structure of the ANC that gets set up, it must be a structure that is functional, a structure that embraces, values and principles of the. So political education has been very central to some of the good practices that are beginning. What President calls the green shoots.
And I want to take you back to, while you highlight the good practices, there's also some bad practices. When you talk about corruption scandals that have undermined the ANC's moral authority, leading to a loss of public trust. Yes, we've seen ANC members are now willingly themselves stepping aside if they haven't been charged, but if a certain I beg your pardon, if something has been brought before them. But I mean, in terms of this, Sibongile, what other measures have you put in place to actually rid the movement of corruption? I mean, we're seeing what's happening at the Madlanga Commission, ANC people being fingered, being named. Does it not worry you?
Look, number one, we are the only organization where if a member is accused, let alone is in the courts of law, if a member is accused, he's got to account to the Integrity Commission. No other party in South Africa has an Integrity Commission. That is a demonstration of commitment that every member of the organization must account for his acts. The second issue, the NEC has adopted lifestyle audits and so on. So there's a lot of that we are doing internally. And I think some of them will be coming out from the report of the SG as to how far we've gone. But we concede, we admit that we are not yet perfect. But under the circumstances, we can tell you that we are moving forward. Even the Madlanga Commission, remember, it is inspired by what the President also